The seven seals have been broken. The four horsemen of the apocalypse have come and claimed regions of the ruined earth, or what was earth that we knew, and we're now lost ones, trying to navigate our way through the apocalypse and Armageddon. We're going to be talking about a game that's coming to Kickstarter from two publishers that I'm a big fan of. One is Two Little Mice, and the other is Acheron Books or Acheron Games. I will tell you that this is coming to Kickstarter on the 15th of February. If you are interested in anything that we are talking about, check out the Kickstarter link in the description below and click on that, and of course give it a follow. Also, there is a link for the quick start, which we're going to take a look at tonight and give you our thoughts on. We're going to just talk about it because I think it's a really cool project, and we'll see what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. But stick around. We're going to talk Apocalisse, John's Guide to what is it? John's Guide to Armageddon. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Today on the show, we're going over the quick start for Apocalisse, the John's Guide to Armageddon. Like I said, this is a Kickstarter coming February 15th. It's by some really great publishers, some really great artists. This is a great collaboration between two studios that I'm a big fan of. If you are interested in what we're talking about, please hit that like button down below. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you hit the subscribe button as well. And we're actually going to do an actual play of this when the Kickstarter hits. So I'm really excited about that. And the gentleman that is going to be doing that Kickstarter, or that is going to be doing that actual play with me, is the one and only Jason.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too bad. I'm doing all right.
I'm excited for this project that's hitting Kickstarter on February 15th.
I'm very curious.
This is something that they reached out and they said, hey, we've got this. Of course, they did Brand Colonia. They did Inferno, which I think you got your copies of that
yes.
the other day, like just a little while ago. This is another project that's going to have the same quality.
I have visual aids.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah,
these books are beautiful.
This way. Here we go. So this is Virgilo's Untold Tales. This is part of the setting book, and then there's the main core book, which is Dante's Guide to Hell, and the artwork alone and the layout and everything in this book is top notch. Yeah, so it's going to be a really great project from both companies, and I'm really excited to see it. The quality is going to be right up there with those books in terms of art, in terms of production. They've said that this is kind of course, this. I'll be honest with you, and with everybody that's watching, this might not be a setting that everybody will get into, because it deals with the Book of Revelations in the Bible. Basically, you're playing as people that have kind of endured the Armageddon, and you're kind of choosing a side between the adversary and was it the Lord. The throne,
yeah. There might be some issues there that you might not, but I think they've done a great job, and that's one thing I'm going to say right out of the gate, is that they've done a really great job with making this whole setting very sensitive to that, because it could be really one way or the other. And they've done a really good job of making sure that they're sensitive with this matter, with this setting. They've said it's and I agree. It's like Mad Max meets Renaissance dark fantasy, and that's a lot to kind of like jumble together. But I think it works. We're gonna take a look. I'm excited. They sent over the quick start, a couple weeks ago to me, and I sent it over to Jason for us to kind of take a look together. Jason's going to be GMing the actual play on the 15th when the Kickstarter starts, and we're excited to do that. We've got a great cast headed your way. But yeah, do you want to just dive right in, Jason, and give our thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. That's the whole point of this setting, is to just get right into the middle of it.
Let's do it. Let's bring it right on screen. All right. So you can download this as well, and they've got pre-generated characters, so you can already give this a shot even before the Kickstarter comes live on the 15th. But right away, Jason, that cover image, like, come on, like
that cover image will sell a lot of books all by itself.
I don't even know like what the any nominations are going to be for that are coming up for cover art. But oh my god, like this is I'm pretty sure this is the Two Little Mice studio that did the illustration and the arts for this the art pieces for this book. That is a gorgeous cover illustration. They
did not skimp on any of the artwork in these books at all.
They really didn't. And of course, the quick start is a 62-page quick start. We're just going to go right through it and just kind of show it off a little bit and give you our thoughts. I will say that this is a 5e game.
Yes.
So it uses that 5e rule set. And I'll be honest with you, and I've said this multiple times, I'm not normally a big 5e player. Like, I don't like it when publishers just cut and paste, or copy and paste, and put that 5e rule set on for a setting that it probably doesn't apply to.
It happens more often than you might think.
Yeah, just because we understand that 5e is where the majority of the industry is.
It's the easy win. If you're a company and you have an idea and you don't have a game system to put it on, you put it on 5e because people are going to say, oh, well, I already know how to play 5e, so this will be easy.
Exactly. And that's one thing that it's got going really well for it. And if your players play 5e and they don't like to change to other systems, this might be a product for you as well. I will say, after reading this quick start, I think this is one of the better implementations and the tweaks that they've made to this setting and this source material. I think it really does a great job with those 5e rule sets and that 5e rule set and makes it fit this setting, because you can't say that with a lot of other games.
A lot of games they take a portion that works and then they just kind of shoehorn everything else in on top of it.
Yeah.
But if you've ever enjoyed TV shows like Lucifer or Supernatural, and you want to get your players into it, this is the game for them.
This is totally that. Yes, I totally forgot. I was gonna say
this would be a great segue point to get, because it takes the existing, like, I don't know if we should even really call it lore, if you want to call it that, but it takes the concept and gives it a twist that makes it entertaining to role play in without being overbearing about it. And that is definitely a selling point to this system.
Absolutely. We'll just take a look at the contents. We've got an introduction, Armageddon. It kind of goes through a few chapters there. You got people of Apocalisse, and then some chapters there. Creatures of Apocalisse, which I kind of wish they had more in that section. But
I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't.
Yeah, it kind of leaves you. It's a good teaser.
It leaves it up to, like, I was worried. I mean, I know that the bestiary is going to be expanded beyond what it is right now. They've only got a few examples for us. But I was initially worried that we were basically going to see every creature that ever roamed Diablo 3.
Sure.
Which is a really easy grab, because there's all sorts of nasty looking creatures and there's all sorts of gross things, and they lean a little bit on the mythology of it as well. But I like the fact that you can literally just take any existing creature, give it a slight twist even, slap a mark on it, and use it in this setting. So you don't need to feel like, oh, well, I don't have any creatures to use here. You can grab anything. And not most of the cases, but in a lot of the cases too, the creatures are like they're like the field boss. And if you play video games with field bosses, they're big, they're tough, and they're meant to accentuate the setting more so than, hey, you're fighting 3,000 little gribbly bits that are coming rushing at you. They're intended to just evoke the setting more than they are as a beat stick.
Exactly. And then the key to the seal, which I think is the adventure in this book.
Yeah, that is the adventure. Yeah, it starts on page 40.
Wow, so you're going to get almost 20 pages or a little over 20 pages of
I think
adventure.
There's 20 some pages of adventure, and then there's like 3 or 4 pages of monsters, and then it's credits and that sort of thing.
Are you going to be able to shoehorn all that into an actual play for us?
I've already trimmed a few things down in the interest of time, because I don't want us to be there for like 3 days.
Well,
It's a fairly short adventure to start off, though.
All right. I love the fact that they've given a lot of information just out of the gate, so folks can really give it a good playthrough just to kind of see if they like this or not.
They give you enough flavor in the quick start to give you like the way to set the ambiance of the setting up so that you can properly convey it to your group.
So then we've got the credit page, which lead artist Daniela from Two Little Mice. She's just amazing. Like, can we just say that, like, I've seen Household, like that's what I've been reading like lately, and you know, looking at this, how we need to get Daniela like some Any awards, like Kanto. Can we fast track those for her? We don't even have to have the books out yet. We're just gonna fast track those. Send them to her already. Let's see here, and then Simeon and Ricardo, of course, those are from Two Little Mice. And let's see here.
I recognize some of the names from reading around on their websites, actually. So like Samuel and Simone and Ricardo and Daniela, they're all up there in development cases in like all of their settings. So it's good to see them all working on this as well.
Absolutely. Again, another illustration of the cover. Just kind of gives you a brief introduction as to what it's about.
It's interesting because so many settings rely on you're trying to stop it, you're trying to prevent it, you're trying to put the genie back in the bottle. But in this, it's too late. It's already happened. You're showing up to the party late, so now you just basically have to pick a side and do the best you can.
Absolutely. So yeah, it just kind of tells you that it's happening over the Book of Revelations, and that you're playing these last ones that are like the survivors. And I got to tell you that like these black and white illustrations complement those really bright, colorful illustrations so incredibly well.
They're very like lithographs from like old texts and stuff that you would see like in religious texts. So
exactly,
they did a great job of it, and they're all unique. None of this is rehashed art. This is all created for the setting.
I love this. It talks about the end times and how the seals were broken and what happened after each seal was broken. So it gives you a good background on the lead up of the setting, and how the earth kind of was changed and was
that's why it's a great overlay setting too. Like I said earlier, you can take any world basically and say, okay, this has happened. The world is now destroyed. So everything that you think you know, like where there used to be cities and rivers and lakes and mountains, that's all gone. It's all been destroyed, crushed, rearranged, mashed back together, and now you just have to deal with what's left over.
This is, I think, the illustration on one of the other main book that's coming out.
Yes.
And we'll take a look. Yeah. I'm going to show at the end of this session. I'll show the 3 books that they've announced that they're doing 3 books for this Kickstarter, and we'll show those in a little bit. But those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is
for anyone who's not familiar, which should be like 3 people.
Like, come on, like I would love that just for like a lithograph.
Yeah, honestly,
like, I'm hoping that maybe they throw in some prints. I don't know. We'll see.
There was something on the Kickstarter about an art print, but I don't know which art piece it is.
The Plain of Armageddon. This just kind of tells you a little bit about that.
It is a bleak world.
Yeah, it's not a fun world to live in. That's for sure. Basically, people gather around the throne, there's 2 factions in this setting. There's the throne. Actually, I think there's 3 if I'm not mistaken, right? Because there's the people that are tied to the throne, the adversary, and then there's
Babylonia is the last. It's the last basically free city on the face of the plains of Armageddon.
So it kind of goes over those factions, the throne, and how they are. It's the Lord's faction. And it's those who belong to it can experience life with light, warmth, and abundance of food and water of the holy mountain of the same name. And
that's important in this setting because food and water are extremely rare resources. Farmland is basically non-existent. There's no livestock to be had. So if you have access to regular food and water, that is a key item.
Absolutely. The aim of the throne is to favor the end times, seeing the divine plan to its conclusion. Then we have the abyss, which is the ones that follow the adversaries faction. And yeah.
I like the fact that they don't say good or evil very often in this.
They really don't.
And they avoid that quite a bit. Yeah. But it's nice because, like, even in what the description you just read, you're just there to see the divine plan to its fruition. Who knows what that means?
Yep.
It's not like you don't know what that means. So yeah, you're on what you're calling the light side. So okay, cool, you're doing your thing. Doesn't always mean you're going to be the good guys. There's lots of room for movement.
And then there is the Babylonia, which is the faction that is gathered in the fallen city. The free last ones have taken over the ruins of a city formed after geological disasters of the Sixth Seal. They repopulated its narrow streets, tended to the gardens, and reinforced the spires and bridges. So basically, it's a spire that rises to the sky. And yeah. Now we're getting to some really cool, what I think is where this whole 5e, the tweaks to this 5e kind of shine, and that's the marks. Of course, when you follow what do we say? It was the
throne.
The throne, that's right. The throne or the adversary. You get a mark for each faction, and it kind of tells you where your loyalty lies, and also you draw from these marks as well certain powers, which is kind of neat.
It's a cool mechanic for 5e. Like, yeah. It's similar to an inspiration mechanic, which used to be pretty much the purview of bards only. They were the only ones who could provide you with any sort of inspiration. And in this, you actually gain the ability to use your mark, use your reaction in combat or in any sort of situation. You can roll your mark dice after that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this mark dice. So, I really dig this. This kind of gives me. I'm trying to think. We've seen this kind of implemented in other systems.
Yeah, it's kind of a hybrid, actually. It's very interesting the way they went about it, actually, because you don't often see an exploding dice mechanic in 5e.
And I love exploding dice. This is one thing that I really dig about this game, is that it has exploding dice, and like that, to me, I love whenever there's a chance, even if it's very, very slim, for exploding dice to explode, and like when you roll the highest and then you get to re-roll it again and keep adding it, like that creates some really epic moments.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of the mark dice, actually. Like you can, and they have it broken up into two systems. It's very simple to use. It's a D4 starting off for everybody, I think up until level 5, and then you go up to a D6, and then it progresses beyond that as you go.
Yeah, the higher your ranking, the higher the die is.
At its basic level, it's just a dice modifier. So you get into a fight and something attacks you, and you're like, oh wow, it hit me, but just barely. Well, I'll use my mark and I'll roll my D4, and then you get to take that number away from the 2-hit roll, and maybe the bad guy misses you in that instance. And that's the core of the mechanic right there. That's it.
Or you could do it. You can do it in the reverse as well, right? When you're doing an action, you can.
Yes.
You can also.
You can opt to add to your own rolls as well. But I think it only works. I'm from the mechanics that I've read so far, it only works using your reaction. So you have to sacrifice that. So in an instance in combat where you're thinking, oh, I'm going to try and get this guy to miss me, and you sacrifice your reaction and you don't make it, you still get hit, and then you've lost your reaction. So it's a bit of a choice you got to make.
It's a gamble, but it can create for some really cool moments. I think
it can really create cool moments when you roll a 1.
Oh yeah! Oh, absolutely! Yeah, and so that's a what is a fatal punishment?
That's the fatal punishment. The 4 is a fatal triumph, and the 1 is a fatal punishment.
I love, and there's a chart for fatal punishments too that you roll on. And so
that's the only thing I don't like, is they call it fatal, and it's not. It's really not fatal. You don't just die. It's basically just something bad happens.
Yeah. I don't know how you would, but yeah, I did notice that they call it fatal, and it's like, is it really fatal?
It's still a quick start, so you never know. They might modify that.
Yeah. and we'll tell you, right, and I should have prefaced all this. Like, this is all still work in progress. And I know that they've been developing this game for a while. And I can't remember how long they said that they've been working on it, but I think they've been working on it even while they were doing Inferno. So it's been in the works for a while. But they might change some stuff from this quick start.
And these are just the core mechanics too, because there's actually different aspects of each mark that you can take that will be added to the game later on. They don't tell you very much about that in the quick start, though.
Exactly. And then when he talks about the mark of the beast, this is that's that mark that we showed earlier, right? With the the swirly.
It's the three swirls, three swirled orbiting each other.
And that is a really interesting mechanic. Because of the fact that doesn't it draw on to like cosmic, what they say, infuse the individual with dark pulsing energy of the adversary.
Yeah, the
soul is tainted so much that the metamorphosis becomes clear to those capable of reading the auras of others.
So it has a physical manifestation that you can eventually see.
Yeah,
which is cool. It makes it, and they actually go on to talk a little bit about spies and the ranks and stuff like that. So you actually have to try to hide your marks, and it's hard to hide your mark because the mark of the throne tends to be like the golden auras that you see in a lot of lithographs, or brightly shining eyes and stuff that's not easy to hide. So there's a whole aspect of the game where you have to try and keep who you are concealed.
Absolutely. Additional effects of the mark of the beast, additionally to the regular use described earlier, you can also use the following effect: when a creature within 60 feet and that character can see makes a roll for the same type of mark as the one chosen by the player, the character can use their reaction roll, a marked dice, and subtract the result. Oh, that's the one that you were talking about earlier. That
sort of. This is actually a little bit different. This is with the creatures of the adversary. They almost always carry the mark of the beast. So what you're doing is you're influencing their actions because you have the mark of the beast as well. If you're playing an adversary character, so you can literally, like when these monsters come attacking, you can alter what they're doing with your mark. Not only making them miss, like that's the basic mechanic that they give you. But and if you want to, you can even try rolling it the other way. So if say you have one of these creatures on your side and you're fighting a bunch of people from the throne, and your creature attacks and it's got, it only missed by 2 points. I'm going to use my mark and sacrifice my own reaction to add to its 2-hit roll. So you can sort of channel the beast mark in between other creatures that have it,
like power it up almost.
Basically,
that's cool. That's awesome. I must have missed that when I read it the first 2 times.
They have also for the beast one, that's the only one that they really do a lot of detail with, is the Spirit of Ferocity, where you can actually use your mark as an adversary player to modify any strength-based roll. So, of course, most of your melee attacks are strength-based.
Sure.
You can add or subtract your mark dice to any attack roll that uses strength as a modifier. So it has to be an attack roll as far as I know. I don't know if they'll change that mechanic, but imagine if you're in a situation where you need to lift a heavy gate. Well, you have the Spirit of Ferocity and the Mark of the Beast. Channel that extra oomph and chuck that gate up as fast as you can.
And then it's got a table for Fatal Punishment of the Beast, which you definitely do not want those.
Some of them are pretty rough. Yeah. Some of them are actually really cool.
And then this goes over the last ones. This is People of the Apocalypse. So basically, the last ones are mortals who are still alive on the plane of Armageddon. And
they also they go out of their way in this to say generally it's humans, because that's sort of setting specific. But they do have a caveat there saying you can play characters from any sort of lineage you want. You could you can play Dragonborn or elves or dwarves if you really choose to. But the setting itself is specified towards humanity because it's the struggle of humanity against the adversary. So
and there's that little disclaimer right there for other races and all that. Yeah. Again, really awesome art. last roll and traits, character options, children. So this is the other thing that I liked a lot is like you can play a child of the old world or the child of the apocalypse. Basically, you could either play as someone that went through, as the world was,
as the world was falling apart,
chaos and falling apart, or you can actually be someone that actually was raised after that. And I thought that's really neat. And
the sins and virtues mechanic is also cool. Like every character has a sin and a virtue. Every character.
Right.
It's I guess you shouldn't really force it, but it's intended for gameplay purposes. And it's a really simple system to gain inspiration because you get a sin and a virtue. And if you role play either of those, your GM can say, "Hey, you just role played something on your virtue or something or some aspect of your sin. Take an inspiration dice." And it removes the mechanic from the character's hands, but it makes it easier for the GM to say, okay, I want to give my characters a bit of an advantage coming up here. So as they're role-playing, I'm going to give them a variety of inspiration dice as they go.
You can also play as Hellrisen, which basically people that have been resurrected from the grave.
Yep.
And
just like in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That's... I kind of like that. Really has me interested. Like
that would be an interesting thing to role play. I think.
Yeah,
a spirit come back and just like resuming life in a body that they just happened to find someplace and being like, "I'm back."
and imagine if that was a person that had like perished before all of this happened, and then like you came back and like this is what you're coming back to, and it's just totally not the Earth that you're normal.
You think maybe you're coming back to idyllic and this is going to be amazing. I've got a second chance, and you're just like, what the heck did you guys do?
So many cool options with this setting. It gives you 4 new archetypes. The Furioso, which is like a fighter,
sort warrior, of a berserker type-ish class.
Yeah. Sorcerer of otherworldly bloodline. Love this. We're going to talk about that in a second. Bard of Revelation, which is a new Bard archetype, and a Wormwood Spectre, which is a new Bard college.
Not to be confused with a company of the same name.
And those are just the 4 that are in this quick start. I'm sure that there's going to be more for the final release as well. But yeah, the Furioso is. I love the fact that they're like a fancy pants berserker.
They're basically like if you were to take like a fop out of a Renaissance fair with all their frilly frou-frou and everything, and then give them just a gigantic nasty weapon and an attitude to go with it.
Yeah, I again, like let's just look at the art. The art's super rad. They usually have like a big sword, and they're just I think
they're beat sticks.
Yeah. And then that's more there. The Sorcerer of Otherworldly Bloodline. These are powers that have left a permanent mark upon all the lineage of the world. Basically, a spark of cosmic power, which still survives this day, imbued in these people, and they can tap into it.
This is how they justify the existence of non-standard magic in a Revelation style game.
Sure. I just think that that's super.
It's rad. A really cool way to do it, actually. Yeah. There's no schools of magic or anything. It's just you've been touched by cosmic powers, and this is how you do what you do.
Let's see here. The Bard of Revelation.
This is my favorite.
This is your favorite? All right, I'll let you go with it. What is the Bard of Revelation?
The Bard of Revelation is basically a doom prophet. They're not going around with a lute or a flute or a guitar or whatever the heck you want to have them have. It's a guy who has studied and learned about all of the things that have gone down, all of the seals breaking, all the 4 horsemen, and all the aspects of the final battle. And he goes around basically educating on this fact, and you can use inspiration still as a bard, but it's not singing and songwriting usually. It's just like poetic eddas and that sort of thing to inspire your allies or possibly detract from your adversaries. But I like the fact that it's not, the standard, I'm a schmoozy bard, I'm going to hang out in the tavern and see who I can seduce for information. These guys are basically just like foot soldiers trying to educate and empower people on a more visceral level, which is really cool.
Absolutely. Just some really cool options, and they're like the emo. I like to say that they're like the emo of the Apocalypse.
They are, yeah.
Look at that. So cool. I mean, come on. The artwork is just so rad. The Wormwood Spectre, which I forget what this one does. Is it this is the one that has like the cloud around it, right? And it
that's the Wormwood, yeah. That's the Wormwood shadows, yeah. They're basically a rogue that's got built-in poison and built-in stealth options. Like they can literally create this miasma around them and use it to hide in, which allows them to do a lot of their rogue archetype abilities without having to justify it in role-playing by saying, okay, I've jumped out of the shadows once and I've stabbed this guy. I'm going to slink into another shadow. That just sounds silly. Right. So instead, the Wormwood Spectre is just like, well, I'm going to generate this miasma for part of my round. And that obscures me to the point where I can still function as a rogue in combat. There's a lot of rogues. It's just like, hey, I've got the one big hit, and then afterwards I'm just stabby, pokey.
Again, more art, and then of course we get the Creatures of the Apocalypse, which, this looks like something I would have seen in like Shadow of the Demon Lord. That's kind of like that's what I get immediately. Look at that. That's just. I don't want to go up against that. That doesn't look like
no, thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, you might have to. I mean, that's up to me.
Yeah, I mean, and then they give you the 4 horsemen, and they kind of tell you what region that they all kind of.
They all have kingdoms now because they've come and gone. They've done their bit. They came back. They brought all the plagues, and that's the thing too. All of the plagues, the biblical plagues, have happened and are still ongoing. Like that's the reason why you can't grow crops, because there's constant blood rains, and well, bloody rain probably not good for growth.
And none of the horsemen have taken a side, so they're just kind of all doing their own thing.
That's not what they're for. Yeah.
And then the key to the seal. I'm not going to go into this because we're going to play it, and I don't. That is
the adventure.
There's a lot of material here, lots of scenes. Let's see here.
There's still some excellent art in the adventure aspect too.
Yeah, I just wanted to scroll through it just to kind of show off. And then you got the calamities table, which I'm sure we'll probably find out about that. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, there's a calamity table for every domain, so
nice. We're just gonna we're gonna go through this rather quickly, just so in that way. Look at that.
One thing too, actually, there's no really detailed map for this. It's just a ruined world with a few areas dotting it that are important to people, and you kind of almost explore it as a hex crawl. You move into an area, and that's what the calamity tables are for. If depending on whose domain you're in, you roll dice to see what you encounter. So you might adventure for the day, and the GM will roll on the calamities table, and it'll be like, oh, you've run into a river of molten lava in the middle of nowhere for no apparent reason. So you can actually modify your map as you go, which is a very cool mechanic that has become really popular lately.
I think, like I said, I don't play a lot of 5e. I think this is a really cool setting. And I grew up in a religious background, and I read this and I was like, oh, they took some really great steps to make this to make this sensitive for the setting. So I think that they've done a terrific job with this product and this project so far. I'm excited to see what everything entails. I will show you that they are putting out 3 books. We've got the core rule book, the core setting book, Monsters of the Armageddon, which of course is bestiary, and then the Book of Revelation, which I'm hoping they just aren't putting the Book of Revelation from the Bible in a hardcover book.
That'll just be like
source material.
Yeah, that'll be your book for your lore and your fluff and building out your areas when you play, basically, I think.
But yeah, those books.
I'm a big fan of how they've done this, because based on Dante's, if it's anything like Dante's, and I'm positive it's going to be like Dante's, they give you the mechanical frameworks, they give you a lot of concept ideas, and then they get out of your way. There's not 1,000 tables. You're not going to be referencing these books over and over and over, looking for a page number to quote a rule or a citation, something. They're really good at giving you a really rich, detailed setting that you can just adventure through and be in the background of.
I don't get behind a whole lot of 5e like projects.
Me either.
But this is one that I'm really stoked to see hit Kickstarter and see how well it does. If it's any indication of like what if this is like the spiritual successor of Inferno,
it'll be a great game.
This is going to be a great game, like without a doubt.
Yep.
So if you've even taken a look at Brand Colonia or Inferno, like this should be the next step up that people are going to look at.
It's a different kind of role playing that they're asking you to do with the 5e engine, which you don't get a lot of. You don't really get a lot of that. Most 5e systems is just like, hey, here's everything you've played before, but we gave it a different name and some different stats, and we colored it purple.
And I love how they've made it. It does appear to feel like a different game. Like it's not like you're just playing 5e. You know, like which is
in the
fine.
entire Kickstarter. There's almost no mechanics related to 5e.
Right.
They know you already know how to play 5e. They know you know the framework, so they're not going to waste your time by giving you a dissertation on how to play 5th edition. It's just pointless. You know it. This is just to help you play something different.
And this isn't me knocking 5e by any stretch either. I play 5e with my friends. It's not my go-to system, but like I said, I love it when publishers when they do something different with that system and they make it unique for the setting and they make it feel like you're playing maybe not entirely 5e, but something that's a little more elevated. And I think this is definitely that.
It does a good job of showing you what 5e can be when you step away from traditional 5e.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of value to the system that doesn't get exposed a lot the way a lot of people release supplements for it.
Yeah. No, February 15th, folks. If you're watching this before that date, like I said, go check out the Kickstarter link in the description below. Also, I will tell you that if you'd like a copy of this Quick Start, they do make it available. You just have to sign up, and there's a link for the Quick Start in the description as well. You just click on that link, and it'll bring you to their website, and you just kind of put in your email address, and they'll even send you an email when the Kickstarter launches too. But I would ask that you go and follow the Kickstarter before the launch date because I have a feeling they
have some really cool stuff. Like if they do anything like what they did with Dante's, the Kickstarter stretch goals and stuff like that will be actual quality content.
Yeah. This duo together has me really excited. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, I know one or the others are I know they've collaborated before, but man, this one, it just seems like they really have it like
they've got a
in
good
motion and they've got good synergy going, and they know what
that's the word I was going to use. I was going to say they have a really excellent synergy going right now, and they're capitalizing on that.
Yeah. So let me know. Let us know in the comments if you're going to sign up for it, if you're going to back it, if you've downloaded the Quick Start and taken a look at it. Let us know what you think, because I'm really curious as to what others people think. Or
come follow along on the 15th and heckle us in chat if I get something wrong.
Yeah, we're gonna play this on the 15th, the evening of the 15th, of their first day of the campaign. So we're really excited, and we want to thank. I just want to say thank you to Acheron and Two Little Mice for letting us have an early look at this project. And
this is really cool.
They've talked to me. We've been talking a little bit behind the scenes, back and forth about things, and I really appreciate them reaching out and seeing what we think. And
I'm excited to drag you guys across the plains of Armageddon.
I'm sure you will. You'll rake our souls across the.
I'm sure we'll find a way to make it a little silly here and there.
That never happens on this show. What are you talking about?
Oh, wow.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this, we're thinking about doing more of these in upcoming episodes where we take a look at quick starts and give our thoughts on certain projects. If you like that kind of content, let us know by hitting that like button down below. And if you are a fan of tabletop games and RPGs and all sorts of publishers, creators, designers, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of our YouTube community. We'd love to support and, you know, get the word out about various projects that are hitting the market in the tabletop scene. And I really appreciate the fact that we've got a great community of people that seem to really enjoy a lot of the projects that we showcase here.
We're energetically enthusiastic.
Try to, yeah. Jason, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Appreciate you as always.
Most welcome.
Everyone, thank you for tuning in this far if you've watched all this far. So remember, winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time. Bye now. I just want to say thank you again for consuming this content. I really have a passion for creating content and an extreme gratefulness for being able to have a small part in helping tabletop designers, creators make their projects a reality. There's something really, really special about that. And if you'd like to support us more, you can check out our Patreon. We have all sorts of perks, and I have a $10 a month RPG book club where I send you 2 signed RPG books a year. Feel free to check that out. But mostly, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe or follow, whatever platform you're on. It is extremely, extremely humbling, and I appreciate it so much. Thanks so much.